your eyewitness weather forecast.
And 6:08 is the time on your early Thursday evening. I'm meteorologist Jordan Reed, tracking a clear night across central New York before we see a bright end to our work week. Let's take a live look right now at downtown Utica, where it's fairly bright out there right now. Temperature 52 degrees, so a little bit on the cool side for this time of year. Winds out of the north-northwest at 13, although we've seen gusts at times 20 to 30 miles an hour today. And that dew point is basically about half the temperature at 27 degrees, and that humidity has been hovering around 30 to 40% today, and that increased the brush fire risk, but because it's been so dry. But thankfully we haven't really seen any reports of those as of last check. Temperatures across the area 1, 2, 3, maybe even 4 degrees cooler than it was at this time yesterday, as to be expected because of that northwesterly breeze that I just mentioned. So that means many of us down toward the south, we're stuck in the upper 40s through most of the day. Same thing up toward the north. Old Forge at 46 and Lake Pleasant 47. It's as warm though as 54 as you head over toward Camden. The radar right now free and clear of precipitation, and I expect it to remain that way through at least the first half of the weekend. I'll show you the 7-day forecast coming up in just a few moments. But as far as the satellite and radar is concerned, we do have high pressure and control, and that's our fair weather friend, keeping things high and dry through at least the first half of the weekend. As I mentioned, back toward the west though, we've got a pretty expansive storm system making its way through the midsection of the country, and it'll make its way up toward the north and east as we head through mainly the second half of the weekend into the start of next week as well. As far as the tropical satellite is concerned, we don't have any active storms right now, but we do have a wave of energy making its way over toward the Caribbean, but it only has a low chance of development as it heads to the south of Puerto Rico through the next 5 to 7 days, according to the National Hurricane Center. But just as a reminder, hurricane season does run until the end of November, so we only have about another month and a half left of that. But as far as the fall foliage is concerned, as we head through the weekend, many of us, if we're not at peak already, will be there and getting past peak in some of our northeastern and northwestern sections. Now I expect that to encroach more of our region as we head through the next week or two, and especially as we head toward Halloween. So overnight tonight, we'll keep things dry. We'll have a northwesterly breeze that's fairly light out there, so there will be some frost and a light freeze. No frost advisories though. The closest they are is Onondaga and Oswego County. We'll see a few mid and high level clouds through our Friday, especially during the afternoon, but temperatures warmer as we head through our Friday into the middle and upper 50s. Today they were into the low and mid 50s, upper 40s, and we'll see an increase in clouds tomorrow night into Saturday morning, and that means temperatures tomorrow night won't be as chilly. And speaking of clouds, we'll see more of those as we head through the weekend, and some rain heading our way into next week. There could be as much as 1 to 2, even 3 inches of rain. It just depends on what model you're looking at, but certainly something to be ironed out as we head through the next couple of days. Before that front moves through on Sunday, it'll become warm and quite windy as well. But in the meantime, Thomas, I'll send it back to you.
Thank you, Jordan.
Now, your eyewitness weather forecast.
And 10:18 is now the time on your late Thursday evening. I'm meteorologist Jordan Reed, tracking a lot of sunshine for our Friday and a little bit of warmer temperatures too before we get to the weekend, and that's when we really start to see a warm up. But before we get to that, let's take a look at the temperatures for today. Largely in the middle and lower 50s, which is a little bit below average for this time of year, and also kind of adding insult to injury is the fact that we had a northwesterly breeze today, at times 10 to 15 miles an hour, and we did see gusts at times of 25 to 30 miles an hour. Thankfully, the wind right now is calm in downtown Utica under clear skies, 38 degrees, and that the dew point, I should say, is at 31. So that gives us an indication of where our temperatures are going to end up during the overnight hours. So not only are the temperatures going to drop, but the dew points are as well. Temperatures across the area right now ranging from the middle and upper 30s to the lower 40s out there right now. Our cool spot is down in Oneonta at 35, but it's as warm as 42 up in Lewis County, up in Lowville right now. And the radar is free and clear of precipitation. I do expect it to remain that way through at least the first part of Sunday before we start to see some changes. The reason why is because we've got high pressure over Canada right now, and back toward the west we've got an area of low pressure that will ride along a cold front. and that'll head toward us as we head through Sunday. But before we get to that, we'll have some warmer temperatures and even a gusty wind as we head through Sunday as well. So definitely take advantage of that to enjoy the peak foliage conditions that many of us are seeing out there right now. But up toward the north and east, that's where we're already approaching that past peak phase. And as we go through the next week or two, I expect most of our area to encroach on that as well. As you head up into northern New England along the Canadian border, we're already starting to see some of that as well. Futurecast overnight tonight showing us we'll have mainly clear skies, a light west to northwesterly breeze around 2 to 5 miles an hour. There could be some patchy frost or a light freeze out there. Temperatures in the upper 20s to lower 30s as we head through our Friday. We'll see a slight increase in clouds, mainly mid and high level clouds during the afternoon. Temperatures between 55 and 60, so still a little bit below average for this time of year. We just won't have the blustery conditions like we had today. But what we will see over the next couple of days are those rain chances coming up, especially once we get beyond Sunday and through the middle and beginning of next week as well, thanks to an area of low pressure riding along a cold front. As far as how much rain we could see, this is just a modest projection, but this takes us now through a week from today, and there could be as much as 1 to 2 inches, a welcome sight for many of us. But before we get to that, we'll have a lot of sunshine both tomorrow and on Saturday, upper 50s to around 60 tomorrow, and then as we head through Saturday, it's more like the mid 60s. We could get into the lower to mid 70s in some locations on Sunday before we start to see some spotty showers. A gusty wind before that cold front moves through, knocks back the temperature, and brings us that much needed rain. Thomas, back to you.
Thank you.
Now, your Eyewitness Weather forecast.
And a good Thursday evening, everybody. I'm meteorologist Jordan Reed, tracking a bright end to our work week before we start to see some wind come in over the weekend and some warmer temperatures, too. Anything but warm out there right now as of 11:11 this evening. Temperature 34 degrees with a calm wind and a clear sky. And that means that we're going to see some frost and freeze conditions through portions of our region overnight tonight. And that dew point is dropping pretty steadily as well, right around 30 degrees. Mind you, we were 38 at the last hour for that temperature. So not only are we much cooler than it was at this time last night, as much as 8 to look at Oswego, 11 degrees cooler in the port city than it was at this time last night, but it's much cooler than it was over the last hour or two. So that means temperatures over most of our region are into the 30s with the exception of Camden right at 40 degrees still. Sherburne already right at the freezing point at 32, and Oneonta 1 degree behind that at 31. So that means many of us are going to end up in the mid and upper 20s to right around, if not just above 30 degrees during the overnight hours. We've got clear skies, the radar free and clear precipitation, and I expect it to remain that way through at least the first half of the weekend before we start to see some changes. We've got high pressure in control, a storm system off toward the west right now, and that storm system is going to build into our area by the second half of the weekend, and that's good news. We do need some rain, although we don't need it for our weekend plans. It'll also become quite gusty and a little bit warmer before that. And definitely take advantage of the dry start to the weekend to check out the fall foliage if you haven't done so already, because many of the areas in the Adirondacks and North Country are approaching peak or already past it, and I expect many of us to be there over the next week or two, especially by the time we head toward Halloween. So overnight tonight, we'll see temperatures dropping into the 30s. We'll end up in the 20s when you wake up tomorrow morning, so you'll definitely want to allow the car to warm up an extra few minutes, maybe bring some hot coffee with you to work tomorrow morning. But as we head throughout the day, we'll see still a northwesterly breeze, but it won't be as blustery as it was today when we saw gusts 25 to 30 miles an hour at times. Temperatures making their way into the middle and upper 50s, still a little bit short for average for this time of the year, and thankfully we'll see some more clouds tomorrow night, so temperatures won't drop as much as they will tonight, but they'll be around 35 degrees tomorrow night into Saturday morning. But then after that, that's when the rain chances start to come up, especially Sunday night into Monday, and through most of next week we do keep those rain chances rather elevated, and that means we could see as much as 1 to 3 inches of rain thanks to several areas of low pressure that will ride along a cold front heading into next week, starting as early as Sunday night. Before we get there though, we'll have temperatures in the 50s tomorrow, 60s on Saturday, in the upper 60s to maybe the lower and middle 70s in some locations as we head through Sunday. But that's when those shower chances start building in, and it could become quite gusty before that front moves through too. And those shower chances remain with us through most of next week right now. Thomas, back to you.
Thank you.